Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings, and Nick Gianake is with us, along with Sean Kingery of Kaiser Automotive Group. Ted, we have quite the special conversation today.
We do, Sarah. Two great anchors of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Nick and Sean, and we are doing a special fundraiser for Nick at fixedopscares.org. You may have already seen some things about it on the internet. And Nick, welcome. Great to see you. I know that you're home. You're just in the hospital. And before I go to you, Sean, why don't you give us some color and some background on how we got here?
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, Nick and I think it's no secret. I think everybody knows that Nick and Michelle's his wife, and Kathy, obviously my wife, we're all friends. We hang out inside and outside of work. And we went to brunch together a couple of weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. And we're sitting at dinner or sitting at brunch up in the Wisconsin Dells. And there was some conversation that Nick, quite frankly, Nick didn't look healthy. And Michelle chimed in and said, he's got to go to the doctor. And then Nick, I'll let you take it from there. But it really started from a conversation there. And obviously, and I don't want to throw names out there, but we all know the conversation of Sean Butler, and we all lived through that. And ironically, Nick, I'll let you go from there, buddy.
Yeah, the conversation that when we were having brunch, I was always in denial. It just didn't feel good, and my sorry.
It's all right. And Nick, if I may, I first met you on the Fixed Ops Roundtable a couple years ago, as you were the Sean's parts manager down in Florida at Step One Automotive Group. And that's when I learned he was a big Star Wars fan, by the way. And you came on the show and did a magnificent job on a number of panels over several events. And then I remember you were working out west, I believe, with the Ken Garff organization in Colorado, leading their parts. So world-class parts manager, Nick, everybody. And I know you've worked with parts with Cox Automotive, and you've got a great name in the industry, and you're very close to Sean and Kathy, and you're one of the anchors of the roundtable, and we have great respect for you within our community. And Sean had told me that he met with you, and he felt that you didn't look quite as well as you should. And take us from there. Take us.
Yeah, it's just kind of strange. This happens so fast.
Yeah.
If we rewind back, back to January, back to last Christmas, a year ago, I wasn't feeling bad. I just felt like I had a little stomach irritation, and being a guy, you work your way through it, and you just keep pushing, because I'm a driver, I'm a pusher, I'm a leader. All of those things compile, and that's how I run my life. But as time passed and got closer to us, the later part of the year, I'm going to say September, October. It was probably September that I really started feeling like not the same person. Not that I was tired at work, not anything like that as of yet, but just didn't feel right. Worse off with my stomach. It was fighting back, not wanting to do the right things for your body, and I was losing weight. Forward over to going to brunch with Sean and Tiffany and my wife. They did have the conversation, that I didn't look good. I didn't feel bad. I just didn't, I was just accepting what was going on. And then we made a family trip to Texas to visit family. And my family called me on the table, hey, you're sluggish, you look horrible, you're losing too much weight. And Michelle, again, the lovely wife, she said that, well, he's got a doctor's appointment, coming up in the next 2 weeks. And they were like, no, he needs to get to the doctor. So as soon as we got back from the trip, she pushed me to go to the doctor. well, push me. She pushed the doctors to push the appointment to where I could get to it because of the pain that I was in. And
Nick, you're in Wisconsin now. You're working with
Yes, sir.
and your wife are working with Sean at Kaiser Automotive Group. Is that right?
that is exactly correct, sir. We both are part of the Kaiser Automotive Group. So
Are you part of the big store there in Madison, the mothership, as Sean likes to say?
yes, I am the parts manager for the mothership.
Wow, that's a big store. That's a big operation, Sean. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big store. It's hypothetically a $1.7 million inventory that, for the record, Nick missed this weekend. God love him, but he missed our inventory this weekend. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
I was there. Hold on. I did bug you about certain things. We can fast forward a little bit from.
No, that's all right. We can keep going, buddy. That's all right.
We can fast forward to what I came out of surgery and ask you to take care of some stuff for me. So,
Well, you went in to see the doctor. I know they
yes,
they checked you out, and then they scheduled you for some surgery. And take us to that, because I think you ended up real quick. You ended up in that surgery and in the hospital.
So basically, whenever I went to the doctor, she sent me for a CT scan.
Okay.
The results were within 30 minutes of the CT scan. She says, "Hey, we got to get you to get you to the oncologist. That you got a major tumor in your colon." And so, fast forward, went to have my colonoscopy. Couldn't complete the colonoscopy because the tumor, the camera or the scope, whatever you want to call it, couldn't get past it. They didn't want to disturb it. So then you go forward to the oncologist, and they said, we got to do this, and I said, okay, whatever, we got to do. Then I went for a second opinion just to make sure, because I'm not just going to take one person, telling me that I got to do this with my body. So I went to the University of Wisconsin, to the oncology there, and they had already put together a team of doctors looking over my case, which made me feel really heartfelt for them as number one. But then when they told me that they could do two things, they can give me a bunch of laxative and go about my day and be back in the three to 4 weeks, or we can hit this aggressively and go in and do surgery, do a colostomy bag and get this tumor isolated, get you on chemo as fast as we can. That way we can get this knocked out as quickly as possible. And so I said, look, first things first, I want to live. I don't want any excuses to be negative about it. I want you guys to know if this is what we need to do, let's start yesterday. Let's get it started. We're already behind the bus. We need to get this caught up. And they took that and they put it in 4-wheel drive, high gear, and admitted me the same day in the hospital. They couldn't get me into surgery. They wanted me to go into surgery that same day. They were actually trying to get me on the table. It was December 1st. They were trying to get it all done on December 1st. Ended up getting done on the 3rd, which is, you know how hospitals are. They kind of, you got to go with the flow. And they did the surgery, rerouted everything. Everything's working. My bowels are working good now. And we have the tumor isolated, which is wonderful. Now the next step is going to my chemo doctor, getting the port installed, and then starting chemo. And I'm 100% excited. I don't think I show it on my face, but it's given me a chance to regain strength, regain the ability to do my job as a husband, a friend. It's given me hope. So,
and you just got the diagnosis recently. You mentioned you went in on the 1st. That would have been, I believe, a Monday, at the first Monday after Thanksgiving, December 1st. And up until then, you hadn't had an official diagnosis yet, right? And that's
right. I mean, this diagnosis, like I said, they took the ball and ran with it, and the diagnosis came back. The biopsies and everything else that they did, they were phenomenal. They just hit it. They hit it hard. So.
Sean, when we were working with our dear friend Sean Butler, I know one of the issues was that of course, he started late. Okay, he got a lot of opinions, but he also had to do a lot of traveling where he was to get to medical care, and it took a while. Sarah, you remember you went down to Wichita to BG with him, right? He was there, but he obviously lost a lot of weight. Sean, one of the things that Sean Butler experienced was they had that tumor, but I don't know that they could isolate it. Okay, and it ended up things getting all convoluted and wrapped around there, and then they couldn't get at it. Do you remember that?
I do remember that, and I'll speak for Nick here. When this all happened, when he went to the doctor on Monday, and then he had the CAT scan, it was on Thursday or Friday, whatever day it was. I was sitting in a meeting in the corporate office where I am now, and Nick's in the phone, and I need to talk to you. You need to talk to me. He came inside. We went to the meeting room, and that's when the doctor had called and said, this is what we've got, and this is where we're at. And they did the colonoscopy, I don't know, whatever it was, Monday or whatever it was after that, Monday or Tuesday, right away. And Ted, that's where I know you talked to Nick on the phone as well when he was in the hospital.
Sunday.
Yeah. Things with Sean were very, and I don't want to say slow. I don't mean it that way, but it took time versus I will say, again, out of Nick and Michelle, out of respect to both of them, they did go to Rockford to get a second opinion. And by the way, that doctor told them, you're at University of Wisconsin, UW, that's where you need to be. They're the best of the best, whatever. They have some clinical trial stuff that they can do. I will give them credit because obviously I've been visiting Nick every day pretty much since he's been in and since he was in the hospital. But everything's gone very quickly. I had the opportunity to meet all the doctors, and they've all been wonderful, whether it was the kidney doctor or the liver doctor, because I don't know if we've shared with that it's also in the liver and it's growing. And Nick has been good about it as far as the sense of humor. Everything has a name. The tumor's name is Fred, and Larry the liver, and the colostomy bag is Mr. Bubbles, for what we'll get into that later. But everything's got a name. We're having fun with it. The doctors enjoyed that. Everybody enjoyed that. Again, it's a whole different thing. And I know we've all talked about it. I know we talked about it when we were in Suburban Auto Group last week, and there was something that Michelle said when Nick was in surgery, when I sat with her until he came out, whatever that saying was that Sean Butler said, I don't think any of us have put our finger on it. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right. But, that was one thing that Michelle had made a comment about Nick, is that no matter what happens here, and yes, he's going to fight this, and yes, we're going to beat this together. But guys, if you go back to Nick and I's Facebook, I don't know what it was. We went with one of my best friends, also Daryl. We went to with all the wives. We went out to the Black Hills and went to Sturgis together. If you look at the pictures today versus Nick, I don't know what that was, 5-6 months ago, whatever it was. Guys, we're talking about a guy who's 40 pounds lighter now, 50 pounds lighter, whatever it is. If it's not right, it's not right. I'm not picking on Nick because everybody's got to know that Nick's one of my best friends. But guys, if it's not right, it's not right. And again, to Nick's point, we're all guys. We all think we're superhuman. We're all stupid tough. But if it's not right, it's not right. And we got to see pictures of the tumor with Nick. This thing's no joke. It's big, and it's for lack of better words, and I'm going to get edited on this, it's pissed. That tumor's angry down there. And to see the color in Nick's face today, and I was at their house last night, to see the color today versus the day he sat in his office when that doctor called, guys, he was as white as a t-shirt because that tumor's eating all the blood in his body. I've learned more from Nick on the tumor thing than I ever cared to the rest of my life. That tumor's he's anemic, and that tumor's eating his blood supply. So if Nick doesn't get chemo and get this thing shut down quick enough, there's no Nick. And that's not where we're going to head this thing.
Nope. No, sir.
So Nick, chemo starts in a couple of days,
right? Tuesday, probably lunchtime. I'm guessing. So.
Right. Okay.
Sean, I just want to highlight too, in this conversation, as our listeners are tuning in and hearing Nick's story and hearing about, the rally that we have behind him and his battle, this is a conversation that we have to have with each other and our friends. I know you and Nick have known each other for a long time, but the reality is we spend in the automotive industry more time around our coworkers sometimes than we do our own family. And, as an extension of that, we have a duty and a responsibility to really help each other like that. If we see that something is wrong, don't sit back and ignore it, say something about it. And so Sean, that's got to be a tough conversation to have with, your friend, to tell him, hey, something is not right.
Well, yeah, sitting at that brunch table, and again, Nick and I didn't talk about this prior to us getting on the air, but it really, it kind of came from Kathy, to be very blunt. I mean, Kathy just sat there and said, Nick, you don't look good. Something looks wrong. I mean, and when Kathy and I got to the truck together, as we all went our separate ways, we were sitting in the little lobby area, all having fun, being typical Sean and Nick, making fun of each other and doing things that we probably shouldn't be doing. But that's when Kathy made the comment, Sean, he looks like Sean Butler. And all because we all lived it together. And by the way, that was, just so we're clear, that was before Nick had his diagnosis, to Ted's point. So yeah, again, to your Sarah, you're right. If it's not right, you got to say it's not right. And if you're not, poor Nick, guys losing, and Nick, I don't know, you want to share whatever total weight you've lost through this whole journey. We haven't even started chemo yet, and where you're at and losing weight, it's just not right.
Yeah. I weighed, my lowest weight ever was in the hospital was 184. As of this morning, I'm 194. So going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Not eating. I'm eating 3 meals a day, trying to eat as much as I can, and it's staying down. So I mean, I'm getting the nourishment that I need. Not can't eat the bad foods anymore. Got to really focus on the right foods. But if I can tell anybody that's watching, don't be a tough guy. Go to the doctor. Just get the inspection done. I mean, we're in the automotive business. Get your freaking free inspection done, guys.
He says that before Ted says it, Nick. When Ted and I've obviously talked through this whole journey with you as well the last 2 weeks. There's a list of us, and Ted can share that if he wants to. Those of us that went after the Sean Butler diagnosis, how many of us went and got tested because of that, Nick? And again, to your point, go get the inspection done. I like your analogy, by the way. Fixed ops, the link there. Go get your inspection done.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple. It's virtually painless. And what is it going to do? It's going to tell you if you got something wrong. It's going to tell you if you're all good, and you can move on. But hell, I thought I was unstoppable. This thing is put a crash course on an emergency brake, buddy, because it's knocked me for a new loop.
I had like Sean, I had the colonoscopy done after Sean Butler's diagnosis, and it's a fairly simple thing to do. That was my third time I've had the colonoscopy done, and Sean got all of us to do that, right?
He did.
So he, I give him a lot of credit for that. Yeah. And Nick, so Nick, you're gonna have a battle ahead of you. You got a fight ahead of you. So we want to help. But rally the community and rally the Fixed Ops team and circle the wagons for Nick and his wife. And Sean, you had the family create a GoFundMe page. Is that right?
Yeah. So Kathy and Michelle, in between the trip to the Bourbon Auto Group, the Lithia Group, they have set up a GoFundMe. It's all in Michelle and Nick's name now. I think as of this morning, we set it up. I don't know, Nick, you'd have to tell me that I'm wrong. I think we set it up on Saturday or Sunday. And as of us prior to recording this or going on this, we're at $6,670. We raised, I think Kathy set the threshold at $20,000. Obviously we can get Nick more. We as a company, and I don't want to go down that trail here, but Nick and I had a pretty heart-filled conversation last night about what's the next step for Nick. And, the next step for Nick is for Nick to get healthy. And at that point, we'll figure out as far as career-wise, what's next for Nick. All right. Regardless of what we do, Nick will have a career here. Okay. Michelle works for us, like you shared, Ted. If we need to move Michelle, we'll move Michelle, so she's closer to Nick, to get him through chemo. But, the GoFundMe thing is a good deal to help Nick and help Michelle. The last thing they need to worry about is the car in the garage or the rent or the roof over their head. I mean, that's something we can help with so that Nick can focus on him.
Yeah. Everyone, we are asking you, if you're watching this today, to help our brother in need. Okay. Nick is in the fight of his life. He has colon cancer. Okay. Has spread some, and it's serious. And he's going to be starting chemotherapy here in a matter of days. And, he's a big part of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. So we rally for our own. And Sarah, this time of year, right, when all of us, gather with family and all, we got to, think of Nick, and we got to think of, good health, and we all got to rally each other and rally the troops, Sarah.
Yes, we do, Ted and Nick. We're praying for you. We're supporting you and our Fixed Ops community here. We wish you the best in this journey that you're about to walk on.
Yes, thank you.
Everybody, so if you go to the website, we have it forwarding. If you go to fixedopscares.org, that'll take you to the GoFundMe page. As you can see, there are some substantial contributions. Sean and I helped kick that off. I see many others, but regardless of whether you can give $100, $200, $50, whatever the number is, okay, we're going to ask you to help. The co-workers at Kaiser are helping as well, Nick's friends and family. If you're a friend of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, or even not in Fixed Ops, just in automotive retail, and you're watching this, this is one of our own, okay? There's a lot of fundraisers we've done in the past that have been for big organizations, and, they're certainly great and worthwhile, and they do a lot of research, and money is raised. But here in this case, it's going for one family, one person. He's right here in front of us right now, Nick Gianake and his wife, and they're going to have a lot of unforeseen expenses coming their way, and not to mention the battle he's in, and that chemo, probably going to be a couple rounds of that, and he's going to get tired, and not an easy fight. All right, so but Nick is a warrior. He's a fighter. Okay, he's a survivor. So we want to rally with you, my friend, and we're going to need you to come back and give us some updates, Nick, also as we continue this, because this is it's a journey, right? And we're here for you.
Thank you. Thank all of you, and I look forward to being on, giving you updates. I look forward to being able to show you that I'm coming back and gaining the weight, and being strong, because one thing that, you got to win the battle. Don't give up. And I say that every morning. Get up, knock your socks off. Let's have a good day, because if not, it'll eat you alive. I mean, in such a short notice for me, I've been down the multiple rabbit holes of depression already because of not knowing, and you just got to lean on your friends. You got to lean on, as many people as you can to trust that, you have a good insight, and, they got your back.
And Nick, one of the things I've learned from having cancer myself, and, like I said, picnic, is that they're coming out with stuff all the time. And, if I had been diagnosed maybe 5 years earlier, I probably wouldn't be here today. But during the course of my treatment, and I went through the chemo, I went through all that, over time, they were able to, keep me sustained. And in the meantime, some new Star Wars medicine came out. Okay. Became FDA approved. And I found out about it through the Fixed Ops Roundtable, through a fundraiser we were doing. And I asked my doctor about it, and they said, that might work for you. We'll see if the insurance approves it. And it was all because of that. And, I went from, having a average life expectancy of 5 years, and that was more than 10 years ago, now to not, Nick, I don't have any cancer in my body. I have zero. I go to the doctor and I call Sean, and he goes, what's the word? I say, point 0.00.
What's the number? Yep.
But Nick, that would have not have been, that was unheard of. So yeah. Nick, you got to hang in there, because you don't know what's coming, and they're working on stuff all the time. So the idea is to get through this next couple of weeks and months, and you're right, get things, so that they're controllable, and that you can make it through. So we're rooting for you, and we're praying for you, my friend. We're all here.
Yes.
Thanks to everyone.
All right, Nick Gianake, everybody, in the fight of his life. He's got colon cancer, and he's one of our own, parts manager in Wisconsin at Kaiser Automotive Group. We're raising some money for Nick and Michelle, his wife, their family, fixedopscares.org. Donate whatever you can. Go there now. You can do it online. You could look at all the donations, one after another on there, and whatever you can give. We'd like you to do that. We also ask that we need your prayers, okay? As important, if not even more important, pray for Nick and his wife. The power of prayer is amazing and important, and it works. It works. So, and Sarah, we also great thanks to our friend Sean Kingery for, being at Nick's side to get us through this.
Yeah, this is all about Nick, brother. This is all about Nick.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone, for being part of this conversation today. And, as Sean and Nick and Ted have highlighted, take care of yourselves out there, take care of each other. And for more information about our fundraiser for Nick, fixedopscares.org.
All right, Nick, we got to have you back before the holidays, okay, and get another update. So
look forward to
stay strong, all right? And you got to stay strong for us, and we'll be checking in on you, all right?
I'll answer my phone. It's never off, so.
All right, everybody. Nick is on social media. He's on. Nick, you're on both Facebook and LinkedIn, right? I believe you are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So if you leave a comment, everybody, on here tonight, today, or on the fundraiser, leave a comment. Tag Nick. I remember from our friend in the past that those comments, Sean Kingery, were as important as anything along the way. So if you leave a comment and tag Nick Gianake, that's going to make a lot of difference, because that gives him, a lot of, a lot of hope. Okay, that there's others out there supporting. So, everybody, if you would, please reach out as part of your outreach, and Nick, we're with you on this thing all the way.
Appreciate it.
All right. On behalf of Sarah Van Tyne, I'm Ted Ings with Sean Kingery, our great friend and brother Nick Gianake. Everybody donate at fixedopscares.org, and we're going to come back and check in with Nick. But please donate, pray, and do whatever you can to help support this great man and this great colleague of ours in Fixed Ops. I'm Ted Ings, and we'll be back, and we'll see you again very soon.